They were telling President Obama, actually, Obama, Obama, kulluna Osama, which means Obama, Obama, all of us are Osama bin Laden.
This is Faith Complex, a conversation about religion, politics, and art, with your host, Ghazi bin Hamid.
Hello, my name is Ghazi bin Hamid, and you're watching Faith Complex. Joining us today is Dr. Tawfik Hamid, who was once an early member of Jamaa Islamiya, an organization that has since been classified as a terrorist group by the United States. He is currently a senior fellow at the Potomac Institute. Dr. Tawfik, welcome to Faith Complex.
Pleasure to be with you.
So, those of us that know your very intriguing biography know that you were once recruited by al-Jamaa.
Yeah.
What exactly is Jamaa Islamiya?
It was a legal organization in our medical school that starts by preaching Islam. The university allowed them to have a mosque, and they start to promote certain forms of Islam that was, in my view, very radical. And gradually they changed it from just preaching Islam to really enforce their values by violence occasionally within our medical school.
How did they get you to join al-Jamaa?
They approached me via some of their members, and I was invited by one of their leaders called Mukhtar to start praying with them in the mosque, and this is how they get me in, and gradually they radicalized me.
While you were a member, you met Ayman al-Zawahiri, who is now al-Qaeda's #1 after Osama bin Laden's death. He's known to be quite the charismatic figure. How did that impact your involvement with the group?
Al-Zawahiri was not in the initial stage of my involvement. I saw him later on a few times. He was a postgraduate doctor who was older than me. He used to be a guest to the mosque, occasionally speaking. I was impressed with two things, his charisma and the way he speaks. He's very motivated, and also with his caliber as a very bright doctor from a very high family. When you are a young student and you see this as a role model, it encourages you really to go further into this path.
Given the happenings in the Arab Spring, which were driven by secular values, does the ideology maintained by groups such as Jamaa Islamiya still appeal to the public, for example, the Egyptian public?
There is still appeal because people trust them. When it comes to social justice, people feel the Islamic groups are more likely to establish social justice than traditional or secularists. I think a significant support for the Islamic group is not coming based on ideological basis, but based on economical basis.
Did radicalism impact the mindset of the Arab protester during the Arab Spring?
Absolutely.
How would that impact it?
Initially, as you mentioned earlier, the movement and the revolution was predominantly led by secularists and liberals. Later on, the radicals start to come in and join the groups when they realize that they are winning. And after this, we have a Friday called Jum'at Kandahar, which Friday of Kandahar. You know Kandahar in Afghanistan, because the Salafists with their long beards start to come, and many of them were shouting to support bin Laden. They were telling President Obama, actually, Obama, Obama, kulluna Osama, which means Obama, Obama, all of us are Osama bin Laden, and they were carrying his images. So we have seen the radicals coming gradually to affect the direction of the Arab Spring.
What makes such groups, such as Jamaa Islamiya, especially threatening? Are movements like this one that subscribe to literal interpretations of the Quran and Islam always bad?
The Jamaa Islamiya changed the way of thinking of people and the Islamic groups in general, from peaceful to a mindset that accepts violence. You don't have to practice the violence, but just by the mere acceptance of violence. This allows the spread of radicalism in the society that can end into many violent acts, from terrorism to violence against women, to suppression of art. So I see this as one package.
If we were to combat this ideology, you would combat it from the mind.
Of course.
How would you go about doing that?
Through education. For example, when I was a young student, I learned a verse that says, kill the infidels wherever you find them. And this was one of the verses that helped me to become radicalized. If you taught this verse to me in a different way, telling me that infidels is different from any infidels. In Arabic, it's al-kafirin or man kafir. Both of them mean infidels, but the first one can define it to a specific time in history and space. So there is a way through education to really change the interpretation of this violent text.
So where do you place yourself in this Islamic spectrum?
The classification that I feel that can fit with me is based on the process of thinking within Islam. You have the regressives or the Salafists who want to bring the world backward. Okay. And you have the mystical or the Sufis who want to think in things in a mystical way, with not literary. And you have the progressive ones who wanted to understand Islam non-literary and adopt its understanding to the modernity. So we don't have a conflict between living in the modern world and the Islamic values. And I belong to this group of progressive Muslims.
Dr. Hamid, thank you so much for being with us on Faith Complex today.
It's a pleasure and honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Asi.